Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're well. Today we're going to be talking about The Armored Saints by Myke Cole. This book is a grimdark fantasy, one of Myke Cole's first foray into the genre. Myke Cole is also the author of the Shadow Ops series, and he had gotten a lot of critical acclaim due to the military accuracy of his writing. And so in a few interviews, Myke had expressed kind of a question to himself to say that did they like the book because they liked the story of the book, or did they like the book because of the military accuracy of it? And so I think this book in this series now, the Sacred Throne series, and book one of the Armored Saint, is kind of his foray into this new genre to say, hey, I'm not just a military guy, I can actually write a good story too. So he cut out all the kind of military parts of his background and kind of wrote just this fantasy story. And it's really well done. Myke Cole was a security contractor for the government. He had a career in the counterterrorism to cyber warfare, federal law enforcement. He's done 3 tours in Iraq. He was recalled to serve during the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. He joined the cast of Hunted on CBS as part of an elite team of fugitive hunters. So I'll read you part of the synopsis and show you the cover. In a world where any act of magic can open a portal to hell, the order ensues that no wizard will live to summon devils and will kill as many innocent people as they must to prevent that greater horror. After witnessing horrendous slaughter, the village girl Helwaz opposes the order and risks bringing the wrath down on herself, her family, and her village. And yes, I say pronounce the name Helwaz, even though it could be read as Heloise. In an interview, Myke Cole expressed that it's pronounced Helwaz. That's what he was saying in his head as he wrote it, and the audiobook also pronounced it as Helwaz. Now, I had listened to the audiobook of this by Recorded Books, but just recently the book was re-released by Graphic Audio with a full cast. And the way that Graphic Audio releases the audiobooks, they have atmospheric sounds. You can hear the birds chirping in the background, you can hear crickets on the night scenes, you can hear the footsteps through the forest, you can hear chains rattle as the knights kind of approach. Maybe I'll cut some in the video here so that you can hear the difference. But it just sounds so much more immersive and amazing.
Helwaz took her father's hand, squeezing it hard. Samson's eyebrows lifted as he squeezed hers back. Been a long time since you took your old father's hand. What happened to you being nearly a woman grown?
Helwaz took her father's hand, squeezing it hard. Samson's squeezed hers back.
Been a long time since you took your old father's hand. What happened to you being nearly a woman grown?
This book was praised by writers like Nicholas Eames and Mark Lawrence. Both gave it 5-star ratings and have raved about it. And really, it is a great story. So I'll go through kind of my top 3 things I liked about the book, top 3 things I didn't like. So first of all, the world that this book exists in, and the order and the sacred throne and the writs, all of that was really well done, and it kind of explains the mindset of these people in this town, in this world, really well. I love that element where people are kind of like the Bible Belt of the fantasy world, where they live by the writs and they worship the sacred throne. Their motto there is "Suffer no wizards to live." They mention in the book, the writ tells us that we must love each other, and the writ tells us so and so. So it's kind of like the Bible of this world. I liked kind of that aspect. Another thing I liked was the cast of characters. We have Helwaz, her father. We have the Tinker. We have the Ranger. We have Tome, the Palatine. That type of structure of fantasy isn't too far-fetched, and we're not explaining other languages or other types of races of people. It's all kind of set in just a really historical, typical Dungeons and Dragons-esque type world, which is awesome. Another thing I liked about it was the action sequences. I like the brutality. I kind of like that the author isn't afraid to hurt his characters or to hurt the main character, physically and emotionally. And I really liked how that all played out. There were points where, I'm listening to it kind of like this, like, oh, ugh. That's kind of what I like about a book, is when it makes you kind of have that cringing feeling. That was awesome. So a few things I didn't like about the book. I felt that there was a lot of a fairy tale kind of love elements to it, where there was a lot of praising that, love is the greatest feeling of all. There were some quotes that said, that love is worth it. It is worth any hardship. It is worth illness. It is worth injury. It is worth isolation. It is even worth death. For life without love is only a shadow of life. Good. That's great. I like that. That has feeling, that has emotion. But that theme hit maybe like 5 or 6 times in rapid succession throughout some parts of the book. And I was kind of like, okay, enough with that part. We know that Helwaz obviously is a coming-of-age child too. She's only 16 in this world, and she's experiencing kind of this deep love for the first time. And that's great. However, I felt like the book kind of preached on that greatest love of all, love conquers all concept a little bit too much in parts of the book, but then it kind of went to the sideline. Another con of the book was kind of the actions of the main character during this love story. I felt like it was a bit. I know it was necessary, but I didn't feel like it was logical. I felt like, what are you doing? I was questioning, like, why are you acting this way? But obviously it's based off of a 16-year-old girl in some world who doesn't know who she's supposed to love, and she's feeling this deep love. I get it, but I felt like that could have been played a little bit differently. That would have also accomplished the same goals. The third thing I didn't like about the book was that it was just too short. It's only a novella. It's about 200 and some pages. Book 2 is already out. It's Queen of Crows. I felt like I wanted those sequences, like the knitting and the ending, to kind of have more of the characters be drawn into it and have more of a completed feeling to it. I felt like there were sequences where people are fighting that's only between 1 or 2 people, but it could have been a bigger ordeal and made it much more of an impact. That's just a kind of a piddly little criticism, but overall the book was fantastic. I gave it 4.5 stars, possibly. Maybe I gave it 5 stars. I'm so excited to read the second one. If you don't follow Myke Cole on Twitter, you should, because him and Sam Sykes and Chuck Wendig, their riffs on Twitter between the 3 of them are fantastic. Like, Sam Sykes is the class clown. Myke Cole is always taking his things seriously, and they just prod on Sam Sykes and Chuck Wendig, just prod on Myke constantly, and it is absolutely hilarious. You just appreciate these guys that much more to kind of see them back and forth. Alright, anyway, that's my wrap up for So anyway, that's my thoughts on The Armored Saint. I hope you enjoy it. Happy reading. See you next time.